guys, it is our sleepover episode. Woo! We have slumber party vibes, cozy vibes. Kind of worried. Is Lori unhappy in her marriage? Because
I miss a period of time of my life where Brandon was not there.
if Lori is happily married, how can she be grieving her singleness? I don't understand that.
When I was a teenager, I was dying to be a whatever, and I realized I forgot to live.
I'm like, sleep with your husband, girl.
I was like, man, so if I didn't marry Brandon, maybe this would be my life.
Fast forward to now. I've been having similar feelings or walking through that same season. Maybe I'm not grieving singleness, but I am grieving that season of enchantment. But it's just different. And I wasn't expecting to grieve. That makes me emotional. I cry. Hey, you guys. We are back with another Hey Girl Hey episode.
Welcome back.
You. Yes, you guys. It is our sleepover episode. Woo! We have slumber party vibes, cozy vibes. Lori has her cute little blankets. Her dogs are out. No feet pics for free.
I should have put on some socks. Cover the goods.
Literally. But yeah, we just caught up for the past 3 hours.
We were supposed to record immediately, and we talked for 3-4 hours.
It just never happens with us.
Yeah.
And then Lori made yummy lasagna and salad. It was so good. So yummy. All right, Lori, tell us your enchantment. The enchantment this week.
Oh, yeah. So my mom and my little sister came and stayed with us this last 2 days.
Wait, they're from Snowflake?
Yeah, they live in Snowflake. Oh, it was just so wonderful spending time with my mom, and there's no one like your mom,
Yeah.
we were watching some family home videos, and I was just snuggling up to my mom.
Wait, are you a mommy's girl?
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah, not a daddy's girl. I mean, I love my dad, but I'm definitely a mama's girl.
No, same.
But I don't know. It hit so well, because I know that I've griped on my past, my family, my parents before, but truly, I've just been seeing lately, especially with Mother's Day passing and thinking about that theme of motherhood. I think I was able to see that although my parents were imperfect, they were so, so wonderful. I had the best mom.
That's awesome.
And I'm just so grateful for her. And yeah, I don't know. We went thrifting together and we cooked together, and she makes the best smoothies and shakes, and it was a good time. We scrapbooked together.
That's so sweet. That sounds like the perfect time with your mom.
I know. I wanted to make cookies, but I didn't get to make cookies.
Okay, I'm going to expose you. So,
in what way?
Since you've been job free,
jobless,
corporate job free, tell us about your schedule.
What?
I want you to share it. It's so cute. I literally love it. It's so enchanting. Please share it. I call it the princess schedule. It's literally something out of Tangled. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh. So I wake up at
7
8
a.m.
7 a.m. Oh no, that is too early. Please. Just get up early for what? Just kidding. No, actually I think I do have on my schedule to try to get up at 7.
Yeah.
If I sleep until 8, then jobless.
Oh, well.
So I get up at 7, I walk the dog, I walk Rue, and then we come back. And then I'm supposed to go on a bike ride, a bicycle ride, but it's so hot now, dude.
Bro.
Even at 8 a.m., even 7 a.m. now, it's just
Already
the past few days.
So hot.
Yeah, but I was doing that, and it was wonderful. I love bike riding of all kinds. And then I come home, make a light breakfast. Then I'm supposed to go to the gym.
Ooh. But that's good. A bike ride, a walk, a bike ride, and gym. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
It's a lot of activity.
So I want to go to the gym at 11 to avoid the early people, and then the even people that go on their lunch break, and then obviously those that go after their job.
Yeah.
So 11's the perfect time.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then my schedule ends there.
And then repeat. Yes. Then we go to bed, repeat. I literally loved it. It's so cute. It's posted on the fridge.
Expose me.
Man. No, I love it.
I'm doing a lot of housework though. I'm not just
you are.
not
I
doing
know.
anything.
I'm being silly. Yeah. No, you are doing a lot. She Lori literally redid her entire front yard. And then are you doing your guys' backyard too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing both projects at the same time. So we're removing the winter grass, and then we have to put down some sod in the backyard, and then we re-rocked the front yard.
It looks
and
so
put in new
good.
plants. Thanks.
Yeah, I love little pavers and the pathway.
Oh my gosh, I love the paver pathway. And I wanted the house to look good for my mom to come because I wanted her to be proud of me.
Sweet. Was she proud?
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you feel like that? Like you just, whenever you had your apartment and like, I think your mom came and visited, right?
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my first apartment. I moved out 2020 was my first time ever moving out. Anyway, had my first apartment. Yeah, my parents helped me moved in. But then once I got settled and kind of decorated, I had my mom, my grandma, and my Thea over. And I think I made them dinner too. And we just like chatted in my apartment. And it was the best feeling getting to show everything off. And then I remember I set up the camera to take a picture of all four of us. And it was like on the couch. I'm like, okay, everyone smile. But it was actually a video. And to get that on video is just the cutest thing. We're all like just laughing and giggling. And yeah, I love the women in my family. Like we all have like a really close bond.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was your mom and your aunt and then you?
Yeah, it was my mom's mom, so my grandma. And
then
it's technically my mom's aunt, so my grandma's sister. But
what is that?
But I just call her Thea, but she's technically like...
Isn't that like your grand aunt?
Yeah, like my great Thea. No, maybe it is my grand aunt.
Great aunt.
Great aunt?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She technically is my great aunt, but I just call her Thea.
So yeah, you felt that like sense of wanting to show off to your mom. And,
and it's like, look, you know?
Yeah, I'm doing it too.
Yeah, so fun. Well, and what's interesting is, so my mom... got married young, and then so did my grandma, so did my Thea, and so they went from their house to then their own home with being married. And this was the first time I moved out, but I was single, so it was almost like they were living vicariously through me because it was my own place. You know what I mean? And like a fun single girl apartment, and not so much like a, I don't know, like a family home yet.
Your enchanting life.
Yes, period.
That is so enchanting.
It was enchanting.
I loved being a single girl.
Yeah. I'm like, speaking of.
I know. Good transition.
Right. But before we get to that.
What's your enchanting thing?
I'm trying to think. We usually try to think of these things before. I feel like I have lots of enchantment, but... Okay, the first thing, I think this was my enchantment last episode though, but my sister officially moved in with my parents and I, and it's a full house. And it's been a lot of fun, just having more family time, getting more time with my niece, which has been so fun. And then also I just got done traveling a bunch. I was in New York visiting family. Then I went to Texas. Y'all, we'll get into that too. It was so much fun being back there. And then I went with my boyfriend's family to California.
Dang, girl.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Tired?
It was like back to back to back. And then when I finally was home, I ended up getting sick.
Yeah.
Which ended up being kind of like a blessing in disguise because, as you know, I just am go, go, go. And sometimes I really don't know how to say no. I feel like as I get older, I really need to get better at that, at just saying no and knowing when to make time for myself and like, okay, I'm going to chill. So I'm kind of glad I got sick.
Yeah.
Girl, I was up in that bed.
Recuperating.
I was on Reels, not even Instagram Reels. I was on Facebook Reels. And if that wasn't sufficient enough, I would watch my Grey's Anatomy, which I am no longer watching.
Well, when did you start watching Grey's Anatomy?
Probably like 2 months ago.
That's it?
Yeah, I was on season 4. I can't watch it anymore. I'm turning into a hypochondriac. I literally was voice messaging about this. Yeah. But you guys, when I was sick, well, no, not even when I was sick. When I was sick, I was fine. But I had this like one panicky night. I for real felt like my heart was skipping a beat. Like I had like a heart murmur or something. Like I felt like a weird like blip in my chest. I literally felt like my heart skipped a beat. And I was like, wait, what was that? And so I'm laying in bed and I'm like so aware of my breathing and like what my heart is doing. And I was like, what if my heart just stops? Like at any moment my heart could stop. And I couldn't sleep. I had to call Kai and he had to like calm me down, which was so sweet. I love that he was there for me. Because I for real thought I was gonna die. And I just kept thinking about that show. Like,
that is a side effect of watching Grey's Anatomy.
No, for real. I mean, if anyone relate?
Grey's
Anatomy people.
I laughed because I love Grey's Anatomy. That is my show, and I understand because I'm only like, I don't know, 9-10 seasons in. Like I'm halfway through. But now I make sure to cover myself in sunscreen, like because I have like freckles and moles. Yeah. And this show will scare the ever living crap out of you about skin cancer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord.
But you said you're not going to watch it anyway, but
yeah, I can't. At least for right now. Like I need a break because
you'll probably return to
it. I kind of want to.
Yeah, I started watching it in 2020, and then and I've had breaks since. Like every year, I feel like I take a big break from it, and then but I always come back.
Okay, I am at the part. I want to bring this up because this proves. Cut to what? That was like our 4th episode. Can guys and girls be friends? Iconic. I'm just kidding.
Every show ever. No, they can't.
No, literally. Well, in real life too. But anyway. When Izzy and George get together, weird.
Oh, that happens already.
So
you've
weird.
already seen that, yeah.
And then they cheat together
on Callie.
Well,
hate that. I hated that little season.
I hate this storyline. Yeah. I hate it so much. I want it to stop. I'm waiting for the resolution, and I'm at the part where they just came out and confessed to Callie, and. Yeah, it's pretty evident their marriage is over, but they can't get together quite yet out of respect for Callie. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me sick. I hate that. I hate that storyline.
Yeah, I hate it too. It was weird.
It's so weird. Izzy should not be with George.
And it's like such an unnatural relationship.
So unnatural.
Like, they don't even look like they have chemistry. Like,
They feel like they're just friends.
Mm-hmm. And why? And same with George and Callie, though. Like, please.
Wait, no, I feel like they have more chemistry.
George and Callie?
Yes.
They don't look like a cute couple.
Okay. As superficially, I think they look cute together.
Like Derek and Meredith?
Well, you can't compare.
Yes.
You cannot compare. That's like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to like spoil anything for you. So
yeah. Anyway, I'm just telling you like where I'm so invested, but at the same time, it's just making me mad. Like the more I watch it, the more like literally, I'm like, okay, that's obviously not going to be a storyline. And then all of a sudden, it started unraveling, and like when they confessed to Callie, I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
this is so annoying. Justice for Callie. I love her.
Seriously.
But it doesn't even matter because I'm not going to watch it anymore.
Yeah. No, I was laughing because Brandon started watching House, which is a different type. Like, it's the same premise, I think. Like, they're all surgeons and ailment and stuff, but it's a different show. And he had to stop watching it because he said it was making him a hypochondriac. Yeah. But Brandon thinks he's like an actual hypochondriac, self-diagnosed. How do you know? But
I need to move this down. But how do you know you're an actual hypochondriac?
Like whenever anything, like if you have a headache or if you have like if anything feels slightly off, then you feel like you're dying or like it means something awful is gonna happen.
Interesting.
Which that is kind of Brandon. But honestly, like he has POTS, he has type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
Like,
is he an hypochondriac or is the man actually out here like fighting for his life?
Yeah. No, but seriously, he really is.
Yeah, poor guy.
But because of those shows, like he like everything, he's like, oh my gosh,
heightened.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, no Grey's Anatomy for me. But I'm grateful I got to sleep and be lazy and just stay in bed. I literally stayed in bed all weekend long, and it was awesome.
I love that for you.
Yeah. Speaking of. I don't even know how I was going to transition. Yeah.
Wait.
I don't know. I literally don't know.
Enchantment. Speaking of enchantment.
Anyway. Okay, Lori. Do you remember when I was living in Texas, and we were voice messaging back and forth, and you brought up, oh, you were saying you just recently spent the weekend with me. It was last year in September. You came out to see me in Texas, blah, blah, blah. And when you left, you voice texted me and you're like, "Hey, thanks for so much for a great fun weekend. Your life is so enchanting. You're making me miss like being single, and I used to have so much time for myself and do like my activities, all this stuff." And when you voice text me, I was like, "What? Is Lori unhappy?" And I remember in that voice text, you use the term like, "Man, it feels like I'm grieving my singleness." And I was like, "What? If Lori is happily married, how can she be grieving her singleness? I don't understand that." And then fast forward to now, I've been having like, I guess, similar feelings or walking through that same season. So I don't know. I guess, do you want to unpack like what does that mean when you said you were grieving your singleness, or kind of like more context to that voice text?
Well, because I went over to Dallas to stay with you for that weekend, because it was like Labor Day weekend, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was just so much fun, like hanging out with your girlfriends and like going to church and
hash browns and avocado every morning.
Yes, going and getting matcha and coffees. And I think that I was like, man, so if I didn't marry Brandon, like if I didn't have Brandon in my life, maybe this would be me and Kay like actually living together and doing life together, rooming together, because you had a roommate. And like this would be more of like my life. And then I also felt like I didn't have a prolonged period of my time where I was able to just do that. Like I did live on my own, but I was in a relationship during that period of time. And I don't know, it's like different whenever in your life you had like your roommates and your girl community, but you also weren't dating anyone, and everything was like solely intentional upon you to pour into yourself. And I never got like a prolonged period of time to do that for myself.
Yeah, because when the time you were single to when you met Brandon, that was like months.
It was literally, so it was about 6 months.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, that's just how it sometimes is.
For that 6 month amount of time, like half of it I was living alone, like I just needed to wait till my lease was up, and then the other half was living with roommates. And I moved into this
with a pig.
Yes, I moved into this big Scottsdale house, and I had these 3 roommates, and they were so fun. Like each of them were so unique. And then yes, one had a pig. Like what the heck?
Like was it a little like teacup pig?
It wasn't a teacup, but like I'm pretty sure that if you saw a picture of it, everyone just assumes it's a teacup or like it's a potbelly pig or whatever, the small ones. So
that reminds me of Uptown Girls. Do you know that movie?
Nope. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Girl, that is my favorite. That's mine and my sister's favorite movie. That's like our movie.
Uptown Girls and Polly.
Yes. Don't get me started with
and
Polly.
Shrek.
I will cry. I love Polly and Shrek. But
I love how everything is your favorite movie.
Only the iconic
called
movies.
You out. Just kidding.
Anyway, but yeah, that was an enchanting time for you. I remember you would tell me stories about the pig. So fun.
And like just being able to come home and do art and like spend time with my roommates or like go on a walk in the desert there, because it was like it was Scottsdale, but it was like towards Fountain Hills. So I would go on like these long runs, because whenever you're single, what you do is just work on your body and work on yourself.
No, honestly.
And it's so enchanting. Like,
girl, I used to be so disciplined. And like, I like in Texas, I would wake up willingly and readily at 5 a.m., hit the gym an hour before I got home, got ready for work, made my breakfast, journaled, read my Bible, and then I would start.
And it was like your enchanting breakfast, because you could make exactly what you want. Everything is just for you, just the way you like it. Yeah. When you like it.
Yeah. So when you were bringing up this concept, I was like, kind of worried. I'm like, oh no, is Lori unhappy in her marriage because she wants my life? Like, what the heck? But then now that I'm in a relationship, I feel like I'm grieving my singleness in a different way in terms of, because, you know, Kai and I are dating, and I feel like I'm grieving it in a way where, so for instance, like how this kind of got brought up as I was in therapy, I was telling her that I was like venting to my sister and my mom about certain things in my relationship. And then my therapist was like, she was like, hey, be careful of doing that. You don't want to, you want to protect your relationship and stuff like that. But that was like a whole different thing. And then she goes, soon as you and Kai get closer and closer and walk towards marriage, Kai is going to be that go-to person. And you're not going to tell your sister, you know, either right away or maybe, you know, you don't share those things with her because my person's going to be Kai. And same thing with my mom. And for some reason, and she said like, and when that time comes, there might be some sort of grief there that, okay, these two important women in my life, my family, my go-to people are not going to be number one anymore because my husband's going to be number one. And she's like, there's going to be a certain level of grief there when that happens. And I remember just thinking, there's that thought of like, okay, my mom and my sister are not going to be my number one people anymore. And that made me sad. And I was like, wait, why am I sad about this? And she's like, you're grieving your singleness. And then I remembered what you were saying. And I'm like, this is what Lori was talking about. But it just is showing up differently. Kind of different scenarios, but same thing. So I'm like, man, that's so crazy.
Yeah, no one talks about that.
Literally no one talks about that. But I, like, both can be true. Like, yes, I'm so happy to be in this relationship. And also I'm grieving my singleness. And sometimes when I do bring it up, I see people have that same reaction I had, where it's like, wait, how could the two exist at the same time?
Yeah,
like,
especially because you're just dating right now.
Of course, yeah. No, for sure. But it's like little things like how you were saying about the breakfast thing. Or for me, it's like, okay, how do I spend my time? Like, obviously a relationship, in any relationship, even friendships, family relationships, you need to spend time to build that relationship and cultivate that relationship. So, of course, instead of waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, maybe I just have more energy to have date nights or, you know, we want to work out together, but we're together. I'm not alone as much anymore. And after a while, it's like, oh my gosh, like I do need to prioritize time to myself for sure. But now it's just a little different. And I kind of brought up like this in a different episode, I think, like, okay, my single girlfriends that used to call me and make plans with me, they no longer make plans because they assume I'm hanging out with my boyfriend, which their assumption's correct because I am hanging out with my boyfriend. But man, I miss hanging out with my single girls too. Yeah. But it's just weird because I'm in a different season of life.
No, I get you. For me, I wish that I just wish that I had more of a season, you know, like, yeah, like if we're just looking at seasons, like we get to thoroughly enjoy summer and then we're like, okay, I'm so done with the heat. I just want it to be fall and I can't wait for Halloween. And then I can't wait for Thanksgiving and then Christmas time. Like, and then it's like, you're always like, okay, I'm good here. I've had enough of this. I'm ready for the next thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that, do you feel like with your singleness that you, because you had a longer single period. Yeah. Do you feel like you
Don't remind me.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But whenever you were in your single period, I think that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so done with this. Like, I'm ready for marriage. I'm ready for that relationship and to have someone there all the time. Like, do you feel like you had enough of singleness and now you're just, or you thought you did, and now you're just surprised that there are things that you miss?
Yeah. I thought, you know, in the Bible, it describes singleness as a gift. And when you're single, you're like, okay, whatever that means. My goodness, I get it. And technically, I know I'm still single, like, taxes and technically. But obviously, I am dating someone. And I'm like, I understand what Paul was talking about when he did write that. 'Cause yeah, singleness, you have so much time and you only have to worry about yourself.
Yeah.
And you get to, I feel like time is the most like precious thing you can have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, and when you're married, it's like your time is cut literally in half. And then when you have a family, that's cut down even more because your priorities are different.
Yep.
So I feel like one season isn't better than the other.
Exactly.
But it's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't expecting to grieve. I guess, I don't know. Also, I feel like maybe I'm not grieving singleness, but I am grieving that season of enchantment.
Yeah. How else do you describe
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I am grieving my singleness where I wasn't dating anyone, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
So is being in a relationship not enchanting?
no, it for sure is.
Yeah.
It's enchanting in a different way. It's like, man, I get to explore with this person. I get to explore a person
Mm-hmm.
and unpack who they are, see how we're the same and compatible, but also our differences, but how they also are interdependent and how,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like it's just so fun. And I don't know, the more the more I think about it, I'm like, man, I cannot wait until we're married. Like that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. And that's what wholeheartedly where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And also I don't want to look at my current season of dating the way I used to look at my singleness of like, and I have been feeling that frustration. I guess kind of like going into that, you were just bringing this up of like, okay, we're constantly looking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
How do we not do that? Why do we downplay the benefits of our current season?
Mm-hmm. Man, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah.
I
Like,
feel
how
like
do we
I
become
always
present?
do that. Yeah.
I think it's just not knowing and like not being able to see ahead because it's like the jealousy thing. Like you feel like you're never going to have it.
Yeah.
Like it's never going to come. So you're just like, where is it?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So maybe be more faithful.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Like having more faith that you'll get what you want out of life.
Yeah. But honestly, I'll be very for real. There was a time in Texas where I saw one of my old friends get engaged.
I remember that.
Girl, I was mad. I was upset. And that was like something, I was mad at the fact I was so mad and like upset. And I was jealous. And I remember, calling you and talking to you about it. And I remember just thinking like, man, I really don't want to feel this way. Like I want to be happy for that person, of course.
Yeah.
But also like, I hate feeling this feeling of like, what the heck? What about me? I hate that. Like that's such an ugly feeling. Yeah. And I remember sitting in church. I think this is like the weekend before you came, actually. I remember sitting in church and the sermon was about how Jonathan was such a good friend to David and he celebrated David and David's giftings and was so happy for David. And Saul was jealous of David and he let his jealousy overtake him. So the whole sermon was about like how to be a Jonathan and not a Saul. And I remember sitting there and I was like, dang, I am a Saul. And that was like, literally, I felt that way Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday, this was the sermon. And I felt so called out by the Holy Spirit. I'm like, dang, I hate that I am feeling this way. And I hate that. Also, a thing that stood out in the sermon was he said, when you look at somebody else and say, oh, you're jealous, towards them, you're almost saying to God, that's almost like communicating to God, what you're doing in my life is not good enough. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing in their life is not good enough. In terms of like, dang, what you're doing in their life is wrong. And what you're doing in my life is wrong. Right. And that just smacked me. Dang. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I will never forget that. I left that church changed that day because I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to look at God and be like, your will for my life right now is not good. Like, you're messing up my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm the creative one. And here I'm looking at creator
saying that he's doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's crazy. So then I remember going home and just weeping. I was weeping about being jealous about where I was at in life. And then I was weeping about how I was feeling. And I was weeping because I felt so sorry that I would look at God and think that way about my own life. And so I remember just being in bed crying. I'm like, you know what? I can cry, but the fact is I'm still single. And the fact is
you still want to not be single.
Yeah, the fact is I still want marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is it's not happening right now. But the fact is I'm in Texas. I have a beautiful life. I have beautiful friends. I have beautiful community. I know the Lord is with me. So instead of crying, I'm just going to take my butt to the gym.
Yeah. And
I'm just going to, fuel my sorrow in a different way. So I literally just walked on the treadmill, watched one of my favorite shows. And after I like calmed down, I'm like, you know what? Instead of wishing for the next chapter of my life,
mm-hmm.
I'm just going to enjoy my time. And I look back now at that season and I'm like, man, it was so enjoyable. I'm literally getting emotional because God was so faithful in that season. Like I look back on like my Texas season and it was only like 9 months, but I'm like, that was the best 9 months of my life. And even that moment where, I was feeling bad and jealous and all that stuff. I'm like, I'm so glad that moment happened because it taught me so much.
Was it like a core memory for you?
A core memory. I'll never forget that. It hurt like hell.
Yeah.
It really did. But I felt like a gentle reminder of like,
mm-hmm.
hey, let's say you just never get married. Is that so bad? And obviously, I hear that and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would really suck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, God showed me like life is so much more than just a romantic relationship, because I was able to build community, strong friendships, grow in the Lord, grow in as a person.
Right. Like your life was already full.
It was so full. It was so full. I literally felt like I wasn't missing out on anything, honestly.
Right.
And then the moment I had, or when I finally, I guess, got that light bulb moment, I wasn't really looking. And then I came back to Arizona, and then I remember looking at you and being like, okay, I think I'm ready to date.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to Texas, went on a few dates, and then that's when Kai and I just started randomly talking.
Wow.
Yeah. And it just happened naturally, and because we were acquaintances, friends, whatever. But it just naturally happened that way. So yeah, it was really cool. But anyway, sorry, I didn't know that it was going to turn into that, but I felt like I needed to have that moment of, okay, why am I desiring a life stage instead of just living and being present in the life stage that I'm at? And right now I feel convicted about like, poor Kai. I'm like, babe, when are we going to get married? Babe, I'm burning with desire. Babe, all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, when am I ever going to have another boyfriend?
Yeah.
Like if him and I we're pursuing marriage. When we are married, he's going to be my last boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like, those last, like we are writing our own story that we're going to tell our kids like, oh, when mommy and daddy dated, like this is what we did,
Right. Well, so I want to go back to when you were saying how do we stop waiting for the next thing and like just enjoy the now? It reminds me of this poem that I heard a long time ago. So this is completely paraphrasing and butchering it, but basically it was, when I was a child, I was dying to be a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was dying to be a college graduate. When I was a college graduate, I was dying to make a lot of money or something. And then just it kept going. And then it said, and then I was actually dying and I realized I forgot to live. I think that like it's just, you can't escape that feeling of like, wanting the next phase of life. But I think that like with wisdom and like with living, everyone has that light bulb moment of like realizing, man, like for me, I'm like, I thought I hated high school when I was in high school. But then once I graduated, I was like, dang, I wish I could go back to high school. And then like same thing with college.
I've never had that thought.
Really? About high school?
About high school, yeah.
Really? About anything in high school? About like being able to.
There's pockets of joy there.
Yeah, like just
sure.
things that like not having all the responsibilities. Like you have responsibilities, but they're not that deep, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just things like that. Like being a kid.
I feel you.
Yeah. And then like I just couldn't wait to be done with college and like making good money. And like, and honestly now I still like reminisce about college and I wish I could go back and like actually live in a dorm because I never got that experience.
Me either.
And, yeah, if I could do it over again, like, but now, with this phase of life of like, I am married and, like there are obviously things that I want. However, there are so many things that I have. And like, just like we were just talking about, like every phase of life that you're in, it is a full life because like once you move on to the next thing, you have to give up something else. So like, it's only like a certain amount of like, of full, if that makes sense, because there's no phase of life where you have absolutely everything, you know, because you can't be everything and all things at once. Like you're just, it is what it is, and that can only be those things that are pertain to that portion of life.
Yes.
So like no season of life is more full than the next. It's just that it's different. So how do you live in the moment while you have those things pertaining to that season? Like, so for me, like I'm not working and I'm able to stay home and like explore what it is to be a homemaker. And I already talked about preparing our home for fostering and eventually we're going to have kids. But right now I don't have children, so I'm trying to make the most out of like just being a dog mom. And like it sounds so silly, but I love spending time with my puppy.
I love that. And
like just me and Brandon, because once we have kids, it's never, ever going to be, I mean, hopefully, just me and Brandon and our dog, our puppy ever again.
I don't know why I'm so emotional. That makes me emotional.
No, it makes me emotional too.
I cry.
Like I look at Rue and like, granted, she's a year old now, but like she is never going to be a puppy again.
Yeah.
And like there's going to come a day where I'm going to look at pictures of her and be like, man, I wish she was a puppy again.
Yeah.
But like right now, while she's a puppy, like there are things where I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's so annoying. Like I still have to train her not to chew things. And then there's another thing the next week that I'm like, I never thought that she would be going through this phase, but every phase is so beautiful, like in its imperfection, you know, like it's such a hard, like abstract thought to think I miss a period of time of my life where Brandon was not there or where Kai was not there. Like that's kind of strange to say, but since they've been introduced into our lives, we've had to give up a certain other part of our life, which I think is just like prioritizing ourselves and like and having all the time in the world for ourselves and our girlfriends or like our friend groups. And it's just a take and give. Do you feel like 100%. That's what you are trying to say?
Yes, you put it so eloquently. I love how you said like as you take into a new season, like literally, oh, okay, I'm gathering for a new season. You have to let go from a previous season. I think that's literally such a great picture of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it's not like again, I'm just trying to reiterate, like no season is more full or rich than another season. Like I do feel like the high school season was just as full as this season, which is, you know, maybe it's more like people say that what life is all about is having your person and children and like doing something with your life. But that's not to say like our lives in this phase of life or like a mother's phase of life is more important than a child's.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. No, I feel like I've had to remind myself that a couple times too, of like being single does not mean that you're less than. I've had to remind myself that a lot, especially when you are kind of watching other people go through different phases of life. And oh my gosh, all the events. I'm like, single people need more events. Like when there's a promotion at work, celebrate that person too. You know what I mean? I feel like honoring each person in their own individual season
Right.
is really important too.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like every season is so exciting.
it is.
I don't know. I know I think that what I talked to you a lot about whenever you were like, girl, like, I just don't understand. Are you happy with Brandon? Like, I brought up a lot about how, like, I miss my roommates. Like,
Yeah.
and not, obviously, I love Brandon more than I love my old roommates.
Yeah.
But I miss that time of life, like, where I'd be back then, if I wish I had a better attitude, so this isn't the best attitude, but, like, I miss being annoyed that my roommate was playing music at night, like, while I was trying to sleep. Like, I miss hearing them watching a show in the other room that I wouldn't watch that show. That's just not a show I'm not into that show. Or, like, you know, like, I don't know. But probably not everyone is that way. Like, everyone is just different. Like, some people probably just really hate having roommates and they just have to live alone. So I'm not saying that, like, that's the perfect picture of single-C is having roommates and like multiple of them or whatever. But for me, like, I don't know, I just missed that so much because I only had roommates like for that time, whereas I think that you had roommates for a couple of years.
I remember my first time having roommates. We would throw like these parties. They were so fun. I'm talking like themed parties.
Oh,
like
cute.
We had a Valentine's Day party, but it was like for singles, like people that didn't have plans. So we're like, hey, we're just throwing a party, like come through. And we had like chocolate covered strawberries. We had like cute balloons on the floor.
Love.
And we had like vibey lighting. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
The best times.
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
For some reason, when you're single, it's like you have more of a resolve to enchant life.
So enchanting.
Yeah, but whereas, like, I don't know why, because like we could still do that now. I'm married, but like I can have you over and have chocolate covered strawberries and balloons on the floor. Like, but whenever you're single, it's like everyone's trying to like vibe up their life, and then but that's a vibe of its own. Like the single vibe is a vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like yeah, because if you did it with just couples, that's not the same.
No, that's like a couples like a couples party is not this. Yeah, whatever. It's not like a friendship party. It's kind of like a romantic like. Yeah. Even if it's not.
Well, and I remember at the singles party, like we would, the guys were like, some of them were hitting on the girls and like talking, and I remember meeting one of my really good friends at this party. And then she was interested in this guy. Like, that stuff is just so fun. You know what I mean? Just, like, so cute, so fun, so innocent.
Do you feel like a theme of single-C is self-love? And, like, okay, the theme of life is learning self-love, of course. Like, I'm married, and I still have to practice self-love. But do you feel like when you're single, it's, like, the most opportune time to develop self-love? Because you just have yourself. And, like, you're constantly faced with the thoughts of, am I enough? Why haven't I met someone? Am I just not good enough for someone to pursue me or whatever? So, like, you're always battling those thoughts. So it's on the forefront of your mind. And so you're always having to exercise that part of you to help you gain the deep understanding that you're wonderful. Like, you don't need to have external validation. It can come from within.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, just, like... because you're constantly investing in yourself, whether that's like going to the gym or making yourself a meal, like everything you do is just for you. Yeah. Like, I don't know. So for me, like, I think that whenever you like close your eyes and you think back to like a season of life, whether that's again high school or college or like living with roommates and just being a single person, like there are different like vibes or like essences that you like come to mind, whether that's like warm or like happy, like mother, like I can family time, like familial, or like for me, whenever I think of living with my roommates and being single, I have like this like essence or like this vibe of just really learning to love myself. Yeah. I don't know, but maybe that's just like other people might learn that in different seasons of life. Yeah. For me, that was then, like whenever I was living alone, I didn't have someone to like give me that external validation and like have external regulators, like that all had to come from myself. Like if I was having a crappy day at work or if I came home and I was just feeling down on myself, like I had to learn to internally regulate.
Yes.
And not like just go to a man or like go to my boyfriend to help give me that external regulation.
Yeah, that's for sure where how I learned it. But I think I learned it out of loss. Like, I feel like I didn't start discovering who I was until after my breakup at 22.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after I was dating someone, I was in a long-term relationship. This person broke up with me. And then I kind of had one of those moments of like, man, who even am I apart from a person? Because in my head, I found my value being attached to somebody.
Yeah.
And now that that was taken away, I was like, okay, well, now who am I? And that's when I found my relationship with God. I found new community. It was kind of what I experienced in Texas, but that was like my first time ever experiencing that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of like, I definitely in that breakup went through feelings of, will I ever be lovable? Why am I unwanted? What the heck do I even believe? What's even my purpose? Like those bigger questions I experienced because of that loss.
Right.
And I'm so glad that happened.
But it had to happen like it was out of necessity and because you lost someone, but it happened because you were forced to be alone.
Yeah,
yes, you were single.
I was single, yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
I look back
it's
on it
so
now
enchanting.
and I was like, wait, it was so amazing. It was the best thing ever. It was such a gift.
Like there are some things that you learn in single-C. And again, like I understand like if we had never learned those lessons and right now I'm with Brandon and you're with Kai, like I'm sure you can still learn those lessons, but it's so much easier. Like I mean, it's not that it's easy going through it because it's not. It hurts like hell, but it's more like efficient, like because you know that whenever you're learning those lessons of like self-love and like learning who you are, it's purely from you. It's not. Yeah. You're not getting it from someone else.
Yeah, or you're not doing it for someone else.
Yes.
Like, oh, I want to be better. Not that that's a bad thing either. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, oh, I want to be a better person, to be a better wife to my husband, or a better mom, or XYZ, better whatever. But when it's like, man, I want to be a better person because of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And your best self. Like your best unique self, which of course you can always like want to be better. Like you should always strive to be better. I strive to be better every day. But I think what makes my relationship with Brandon so wonderful is that I did learn who I was.
Amen.
And Brandon had learned the lessons of who he was. So we knew whenever we came together that this was a completely symbiotic relationship.
Yes.
Like we just meshed like gears and we were able to work together and turn the machine.
Yeah.
But until you learn those things in single-C, like I think that's where a lot of marriage problems can happen is like whenever you get into a relationship and you don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And then you're constantly like, is this a me problem? Is this a them problem? Is this a us problem? Just like so much confusion.
Yeah. And that's where you see like that codependency pop up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely harder to find your individuality after you've made that oneness. You're like, wait, I know we're one, but also like, what are my interests? What do I like?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely harder in a relationship, but it's not impossible.
But
sure. I think it definitely is easier when you're able to look back or step back when you're alone and be like, wait, who the heck am I?
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, looking back, like you said, man, it hurt like hell, but I'm so glad that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
glad. Yeah, like the best things always come out of pain. Like growth is just pain.
We need to do that episode. Remember what I just said?
What? No.
Like what redirections ended up being like the greatest lessons. We're gonna do that. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
we didn't need to do that.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. But I don't know. Anyway, I wish that we had the opportunity to like live together when we were single. And
is that the point why you wanted to bring this up? Actually, in the voice text, I didn't know that that's what you were getting at.
I feel like I brought it up. Maybe I brought it up to Brandon whenever I came home from that trip.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
I remember in the voice text you just kept saying like your life is so enchanting. Like I know you want to date someone, but man, enjoy your life now because your life is so enchanting. And in my head I was like, is she happy? And then in my head I was like, wait, why don't I feel the way she's looking at my life? How come I'm not feeling that? Like, so there's a disconnect. I'm not seeing the blessing of my own season.
And people just don't see that. Like,
when you're in it.
Okay, so exercise time.
Yeah.
So right now, in your phase of life, like, okay, well, name where you're at.
Me dating, me corporate job, girly, no kids, girly. Yeah, just what am I? Millennial, Gen Z, zillennial.
I don't know how to define myself either because like we're right on that cusp. Yeah,
I'm
96,
cusp,
right?
Yeah. 27, not like later 20 vibes. Yeah, I'm just out here.
So what do you think that you'll miss once you're in the next phase of life? What do you think that once you move on to the next phase of your life, you'll have to give up something? That's how you're moving into the next phase. What do you think you'll miss about right now?
I feel like what I talked about with my therapist. Sorry, my ear is so itchy. Oh my gosh, hurts so bad. Just knowing that my best girlfriends, specifically my women in my family and my best girlfriends, are not going to be my number one person anymore. Because I'm such a girl's girl in the fact that I'm like, I haven't had to have. Or I haven't had a partner. And so whenever, even it's just like a random thought, like, oh, this is something I'm thinking about. Like, let me go share it with somebody. It's always been one of my girlies, either my mom, my sister, you know what I mean? And now it's Kai. And even though that's natural to, tell your partner stuff, I feel like that's what I'm going to miss in marriage, knowing like, and obviously I know I have the full choice to tell whomever I want, whatever, but the fact that it's not going to be a family member that's my go-to person, it's going to be a man that I'm going to create a family with,
right?
It's just different. It's not bad, but it's just different. So I think I'll miss that, like the closeness maybe of just like grieving the closest of some of my relationships right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, whether that's friendship or in family. I went through that similarly. With I would say most of my friends that have gotten married. Just like, difference of a cadence, difference of seeing each other in that way, and difference of like, closeness. I can't just pick up the phone, be like, Lori, can you come over right now?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me go check with Brandon. It's not a bad thing. It's just different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think maybe just like availability too.
For sure. Yeah, that goes out the window.
I'm dead.
Well, like even how before we started recording, you were like, should I stay in the guest room or no, I was telling you can either stay in the guest room or you can sleep with me in my bed. And you were like, what? And I'm like,
sleep with your husband.
What's the matter
girl?
with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, like staying with you in Texas, like we shared a bed.
100%.
But because Brandon's in the picture, it's like
it's just different. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like obviously y'all are gonna sleep and then I'll just sleep in the guest room.
Oh my goodness. Fine.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a true sleepover.
I'm dead. Yes it is.
I guess. I don't know.
In Texas it was so much fun.
I just thought it was very fun.
Yeah. But that's because I am in a different season though. I bet when Kai and I are married and you sleep over, girl, you get it. You're going in the guest room. Unless Kai's like out of town.
You're so funny. Well, whenever you stay at L'Oreal's house, what do you guys do?
I slept in the guest room.
Really?
Yeah, we only share a bed when Angela was out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
I for sure thought that you guys
No, we like kick the men out.
Yeah. So if I kick Brandon out, if I
Bucko.
tell him to stay at his parents' house,
then we can sleep over. Have a real sleepover.
So funny.
I'm screaming. But yeah, that's probably what I'll miss the most.
What about your corporate job?
What about it?
Will you miss it?
Hell no. I'm just kidding.
You probably will. You'll probably miss some aspects of it.
What will I miss?
The schedule.
I guess.
The people.
Yeah, I'll miss the people. I'll miss the people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Well,
I'm like, you better
you
cut that
know
part
it.
out. I'm done. I'm like, next question with my job.
Okay, we can move on.
I'm screaming.
But I mean, I miss when we worked together.
Obviously.
I'm not saying that it's not something you want to move on from, but like, it was so wonderful.
I thought you meant this current job. Sorry. I'm like in the weeds.
Even in your current job.
I'm like so
I'm trying to make you be appreciative of where you're at right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot that exercise. Okay, yes, I am appreciative of
I'm just if you're not appreciative, you do
no,
not need
I am. I'm
so
very grateful for my
fake.
job. I'm grateful for my job. It's definitely a seasonal thing. However, I am fond of the people I've met, and I'm fond of the new skills I've learned. And yeah, just learning, growing, and all that stuff.
But you don't think you'll look back and like miss it? Like,
I will not look back and be like, dang, I wish I was back there right now. Or like, I wish I was working right now. Like, yuck, ew. I've never thought that before in my life.
Oh gosh.
I've never looked at a job and been like, man, I wish I was back there. I've always been like, man, I miss that conversation or those people I've made connections with.
Girl, I'm not talking about the job. So like if you think back in, I'll say the height of like our friendship group time.
Yeah.
Was like 2021.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like summer 2021.
So fun.
Like, I don't want to go back and do that job.
Yeah.
But I miss or like I reminisce on the time whenever it was like us 90s babies.
Yeah. Like, hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah. After work, happy hour. And then us
or even
working
just
out
like
at the gym.
Yes, going to the gym,
Yes.
like visiting each other in each other's offices and just
okay,
like,
yeah, I do miss that.
like,
That's fun.
Yeah, like I don't want to go back and like work there. Like
okay,
I wouldn't.
thought you meant that. I'm like, ew. I'm like, gross. But there's some instances where, again, I think about that enchanting time in Texas that I had, and I'm like, dang, I would go back. Like, that's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I could go back for a day, that'd be so much fun.
No, of course there are seasons that are more enchanting than others,
Yeah, that's
but
all
everything is everything does have enchantment within it.
Does it?
So it's just about seeing the enchantment. I'm done.
No, you're
Anyway.
right. And there's enchantment in every season.
Don't force Kay to have a good attitude.
Hey, I just listen. I'm so jaded from corporate.
Yeah. No, but that's the hard part is like feeling the enchantment while you're in it.
While I'm jaded.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
I'm dead. You know what gets me through? This podcast.
Really?
Literally when I'm at work, I'm like, okay, this is seasonal, but man, one day podcasting is going to be my full-time job and I cannot wait.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. That's literally what fuels my fire. Or I'm like, how would this apply to how we like run the podcast or, you know, market it or, you know, oh my gosh, one day maybe we'll hire a team. Like, how can I use my HR abilities for that one day? Like, Kai has really helped me to shift my perspective in that way.
That's so sweet.
Of like, what am I learning now that I could apply to my own business in the future?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that what helps me keep going on and be grateful.
Don't expect me to apply my accounting skills to the podcast.
You already do. You're like, girl, save every receipt.
Oh, yeah.
For your expenses. I wasn't doing that.
I'm not doing no bookkeeping.
No, literally.
Oh, man.
Lori.
Fun question.
Yes, I was watching a Facebook reel. And it was of this wife and this husband at like a country concert. Like, let's just say like a Luke Bryan concert. And the reel showed them at the concert. And the husband's like, oh my gosh, taking my wife to see like her favorite person, whatever, her celebrity crush. And then she was holding a sign and it says, oh my gosh, Luke Bryan, you're my celebrity crush. And you're my hall pass. My husband brought me here and you're my hall pass.
Yeah.
And when I first saw the sign, I was like, oh, that's so silly. Like, that's so funny, whatever. And then, Lori, I go to the comments and people are flaming this woman, like roasting her and saying like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe she would do that to her husband. She's like a cheater. you might as well end the marriage now. It's clearly over and like blah, blah, blah. And I was surprised by that. I was like, geez, like it's clearly, well, to me, when I saw the reel, I was like, isn't this just a joke? Like, aren't they just joking? So yeah, and it got me thinking like, okay, and I've even talked about this in my own relationship, but I guess, is it okay for people to have celebrity crushes? And can that be just a joke? And
and be open about that to their relationship.
Yeah, and be like open about that to our partner. Like, let's say, we're dating, or not we're dating, but okay, let's say whatever. Like, I'm like, oh, my celebrity crush is so and so, and then the person you're dating is like, oh, well, my celebrity crush is so and so. Like, is that so bad?
I think every relationship is different and unique because people are so like. People have different triggers.
Yeah.
So again, it's just whatever is going to keep the relationship healthy, or if like there's anything that's going to make a relationship unhealthy, then no.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I hate that. I hate when people talk like openly and like in front of their person about celebrity crushes, or like I hate the term hall pass. Like you said on the sign, it said hall pass. Like I'm like. Because, like, I understand, like, yes, maybe it's a joke that they would never actually, like, given the opportunity that is highly unlikely, like, 1 in a billion chance, like, maybe if they were hit up by Luke Bryan or whatever, if she was hit up by Luke Bryan, maybe she would be like, no, I'm just kidding. It was a joke.
Yeah.
But I feel like probably there's a good percentage of people that aren't joking about that. Like,
okay, and that's where I'm naive. So I've actually talked about this, Kai and I have talked about this, about like celebrity topic crushes. And for me, I didn't think that was a big deal. I'm just like, and that's something, I guess, kind of in our culture, that's kind of a common question, like a common thing. Like, oh, who's your celebrity crush? And I've always had an answer because I instantly am just like, oh, like, the possibility of me meeting this person is at an all-time low, 0% chance.
Yeah.
And also it's like, for me, the term crush, it's just like, oh, who do you think is like handsome or cute? Yeah, whatever. So that's like my, I guess, definition of celebrity crush. It's like a joking way, a joking thing, and it'll never happen, obviously. Well, so I think it's obvious. And it's, someone that you think is cute or whatever. And I remember talking about it with Kai, and he had the similar perspective of you, where he's like, how could you have a crush on someone you don't know, number one?
Yeah.
And number two, like, what if you do meet that person? Like, are you gonna like him? Are you gonna like him? Are you gonna be interested? Like, what if he likes you? And like, what if he tries to make a move? And I'm just like, what? That would never happen. And for me, I know my heart and myself to know I would never do anything like that ever. Honestly, even if I was single, I wouldn't do anything like that. But especially now that I'm dating someone and soon hopefully marry this person, it would never be a thing. So when I saw the video, I was like, oh, obviously they're kidding. It's just like a joke. But then I'm like, oh wow, I guess I am naive to think that people don't think the way I do, and people would would seize that opportunity and cheat on their partners and actively use their hall pass.
Yeah. Well, are we talking about hall passes or of just acknowledging celebrity crushes?
Both.
Yeah, I think hall pass. I just do not like it. Like,
no, I don't. I think hall passes, like the concept of them.
Like, I get it. It's a joke.
Yeah.
But it's like, it quite literally means like,
I'll
who
cheat
is
on
it
you.
Okay to cheat with?
Yeah.
And why would cheating ever, even if it's 1 in a billion chances, why would that ever be okay?
No, I totally agree.
Like, that's that. But then about the celebrity crushes, like, I do think, like, I can't just be so rigid to say that's wrong, black and white, just because I'm a jealous person. If, like, if it's unhealthy in my relationship, I can't say it's unhealthy for everyone's relationship. That'd be extremely arrogant or ignorant or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll just say in mine and Brandon's relationship, like, we're aligned with this topic that and I'm so glad we are, but like, we both don't like it whenever other couples do that.
And honestly, I just have never heard that perspective of like, taking or hearing the term celebrity crushes to mean like, what? No, like, okay, if I don't know, was at like a random place, like would I have a random crush on a random guy and like admit that to my partner? So it's like, why is a celebrity so different? I feel like that's kind of an interesting thought too. Like, is it because they seemingly seem unattainable that in my own head I feel like it's okay to joke around like that? Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, they're a celebrity. And it's like, what does that even mean? That's still
they're
another
still
human being.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where I now get it.
Yeah.
I know I used to, because when it was first brought up to me, I was like, wait, what? That's like, it's just so innocent. Like, whatever. It's something people say. But then the more I unpack it, I'm like, wait, that is kind of weird.
And I also like, this is more like men celebrities. I also don't feel like it's that unattainable, because like how many men, especially sports players, how many men celebrities, like basketball players, hook up with random fans? Like, I heard a statistic or like a general estimate that like the average basketball player sleeps with like 3 different women a day. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but I think it's like
3 is wild.
Yeah, 3
1 is wild.
3 a day would be
one
crazy.
A day is insane.
But I'm pretty sure like I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I feel dumb bringing up that stat,
no,
but
okay.
I'm pretty
I
sure
understand what you're saying.
I'm pretty sure it was something like that, where it's
they
like
sleep and hook up with
a different person, like on average, like a few a week, like a few different women a week. And I feel like that's, I feel like that's probably true. Like that doesn't seem that outlandish to me for a celebrity.
Yeah,
a male celebrity.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Females can.
They can do
whatever. Yeah.
So
I totally understand what you're saying. But yeah, I feel like I needed to also check like that, or like remind myself of that too. Like, just because someone is well known doesn't disqualify them in that way. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I have another question, but don't answer it. Maybe this is what we'll do. Answer it on the next episode. If you knew that your best friend's man was cheating on her, would you tell her?
Girl, what a cliffhanger. And I have...
Yeah. But it's a hot take.
Like, that is a very hot take. Okay, we'll answer it in the next one.
Okay.
All right. Bye, y'all. Thanks for joining us on our sleepover episode. We'll see you next time.
See you guys. Bye.